I want to talk about food tracking and how you can food track accurately if this is something that you are leaning into. There's a fantastic tracker in the app, and that makes this process actually really quite simple and straightforward. There is another video that runs through exactly how to do this, but any questions on how to use it, please do just fire away. Now, back to it. Accurate tracking is essential if you are going to be using a food tracker, because it helps you understand what you're eating and how it affects your goals. I'm going to dive into, though, why actually being accurate with it and measuring your food and drinks is really, really crucial, and how you can go about doing it effectively. So first off, why measuring your food and drink is really important rather than just eyeballing it. Accuracy matters. When you eyeball portions, the reality is that we tend to either underestimate or overestimate what we're actually consuming. We're just simply not very good at working out what the portion size is or what the measurement is through eyeball. Measuring, though, ensures that, it's quite obvious this, you get the right amounts, especially when it comes to calorie-dense foods. And secondly, measuring rather than just eyeballing is also important because it helps you to understand portions. By measuring, you start to understand what a true serving looks like, and that can actually be really quite eye-opening. So, how to go about it? I don't wish to teach you to suck eggs, but these are some simple steps. Use a food scale. I know, blindingly obvious, but how many people don't bother doing this and just eyeball and then find out further down the line that they have been consuming far more calories than they thought they were? Invest in a good food scale if you don't have one already. Weighing your food is actually one of the most precise ways that you can track your food intake. It eliminates the guesswork, which we're crap at, especially for things like meats, grains and fruits. Liquids and dry ingredients, measuring cups and spoons are absolutely invaluable. Use them consistently and you'll get a really accurate read on portion sizes. Next recommendation in terms of tracking accurately is log as you go. If you think that you are going to remember what you have had come the end of the day, and then you're guessing how much you have had, you are on an absolute hiding to nothing. So log as you go to try and keep your tracking as accurate as possible. Log them as you are preparing them. As you are creating your meal, just log it as you go. This way, you're not going to forget what you've eaten and you can make adjustments as needed. So if you are adding in a particular food and you notice that it's actually quite calorically high, you might want to scale back a little bit. So it allows you to make those adjustments as well as being accurate. Be specific. When entering foods into the app or whatever tracking methodology you're using, be specific. Choose the correct entities and match them to how you prepared your food as much as possible. So if you've had grilled chicken, don't put in fried chicken. And if you've had fried chicken, don't put in grilled chicken. Oh my God, there's a massive difference in calorie content. So be as accurate as you possibly can. That's not always possible, and I appreciate that. But for the stuff where you can be, do be. Don't forget your drinks. Tracking drinks is just as important as tracking your food, and I would say actually even more so, because it's the thing that we forget about. We forget that there are calories in drinks, and often it's the drinks that we have that can very much have us come unstuck. There are hidden calories, there are hidden sugars, and there are hidden fats in them. Whether it's coffee with cream or particularly milky coffee like a latte, sugary juices or smoothies that are packed full of fruit and therefore a lot of fructose, all of those sips, all of those things absolutely do count. Use the measuring principles for drinks just as you would do for foods. Another thing I'm going to recommend is that there is an opportunity in the app to select a serving size. Unless you can, hand on heart, say that you have had that serving size, the reality is you've probably had more than what the serving size in the app is. A serving size is just an opportunity for the company to mark on a pack of food, so usually a processed food, what their serving size is and attach some calories to it for like comparison. It isn't necessarily the serving recommendation. So weigh things out. Tracking, though, it isn't just about logging calories. It's a really invaluable tool for gathering insights about how you eat and therefore what you might be able to change. It can help you identify low volume, so it doesn't take up a huge amount of space in your stomach, but high calorie foods. And I often find that people are really, really surprised with these. So you might discover that certain foods that are quite an integral part of your diet are calorie dense but low volume. So they're not going to fill you up particularly well, but they are going to use up a lot of your caloric range and caloric allowance. For example, nuts and oils are packed with a lot of calories for a very small serving size, far more so than the majority of us realise. Knowing this can help you make smarter choices about how much you consume of any particular food. It can unveil really valuable insights about your drinks choices as well. By tracking your drinks, you can see which ones contributed the most calories, and it might enable you to make changes in terms of just the type of drink that you are having to make sure it's more in line with your goals and more in line with making the choices that you want to make. For example, it might be that you change from having a latte to an Americano with milk. There's a significant difference in calories, and you might decide that actually there's not that much difference in taste. It can help provide really invaluable insights about protein sources as well. So tracking helps you understand where you are at and where protein is coming from currently in your diet. It helps you understand if you're getting enough. It helps you understand if there are any options or changes that you could make to boost your protein intake. It really does allow you to make adjustments to your goals. And tracking also allows you to recognize your successful days by looking back and reviewing your tracking log. You can identify days where you felt great, where you hit your caloric range, where you met your protein targets. It'll help you understand what you ate and drank on those successful days. And you can then rinse and repeat those days and apply those successful strategies in the future. So as I say, it's not just a retrospective, you can very much use it for making changes and forward planning. It's a really powerful tool in your fat loss journey. It helps you stay accountable, but it also educates you about your eating and drinking habits and how they might align or not align with your goals. So take advantage of the tools in the app like the food tracker to help make informed decisions. And it doesn't need to be forever. I like to equate it to being a bit like a sat nav to get you to an unfamiliar location. Now, once you've used it and done the journey to this unfamiliar location a couple of times and you know how to get there, then the sat nav basically becomes redundant. It's a bit like a tracker. Once you've worked out what works for you, you just don't need to keep using it. Now, I have clients who every so often will just check in and just make sure that they are getting as much protein as they think they're getting, or it just enables them to kind of stay accountable if they feel like they're having a bit of a wobble. But it's not something that they are using day in, day out. And it won't be the same for you. You can use it to set you on a really good path to work out what changes you need to make, work out what changes you want to make, and to work out what it is that you can do that is working really well for you that you can rinse and repeat. There is a video on how to use the tracker, but there is also a video as well all about the alternatives to tracking because it is not for everyone. So have a watch of both of those.